Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 53 units of real estate and help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about getting different perspectives and constantly challenging your perspectives. So what's been nice about joining the school community is that I have a lot of different investors who have different experience levels. So you have beginners, you have people that are, earlier than you have people that are ahead of you have people who invest in different markets and have different investing strategies. Well, what's nice is you can kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. So this is really nice, right? You can learn from other people's mistakes, you can learn from other people's wisdom, and this is what accelerates your own knowledge, right? Like if I have a question about like Convoy home loans or Kiavi, I can reach out to somebody who's used Kiavi, who's used Convoy home loans, so that you can share experience of each other. So it's been really nice, right, to be able to be around other experienced investors, because in my friend group, at least my immediate in-person friend group, whether through work, whether through my friends, like I usually know the most real estate. So it's nice to kind of have other people's opinions. And, for me, I've always tried to not let getting real estate get to my head. Like, yes, I own 53 units, which is probably more than most people, but I try not to let it get to my head. I try to keep an open mind, and I always want to learn, because there's always something that I can learn to do better, and I can learn something from somebody who owns less units than me and more units than me. So everyone has different experiences and skill sets. So that's what's been really nice about joining Q&A calls and brainstorming with other investors, posting questions in forums to get other input from different people. And obviously real estate's different, and it's very market specific, and it's very state specific, and it's very investor specific. So it's nice, right? Like what I learned from, obviously doing the lazy burr strategy. I've done maybe one full cycle burr, and I basically got burned on my ARV, the appraisal. So obviously if you do a lot of burrs, the appraisal really matters. It can make or break your deal. So it kind of got me thinking with my property. So obviously, I'm doing the lazy burr, buy at a discount, and I have sales comps within the past 3 months of sales, same neighborhood, same exact house, same square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 200 square foot, like literally a few blocks away from my property, that sold for like $315,000 to $317,000. So if I ask for a $320,000, that's probably pretty conservative that I can get that for sure. If I ask for a $340,000, maybe a bit of a reach, right? And then what I didn't know is the appraisers determine the rental value of the market. So you can be confident that, or you can have a lease that says you rent it out for $2,200, but the appraiser might say, well, I think the rent is $2,000, and then now your debt service coverage ratio alone is affected, because maybe at $2,200, which is what you rented at, your debt service coverage ratio could be a 1.2, but if the appraiser says the average rent is $2,000, now your debt service coverage ratio could drop to a 1, and if your coverage ratio drops to a 1, what happens to your interest rate? Your interest rate's going to go up. So you got hit two ways, right? Number one, your ARV might go down, because if it's based on the income, that sucks. And number two is that your interest rate's going to be higher, so your loan payment's going to be higher, so your cash flow's going to be lower. So it's a double whammy. And, and so to kind of solve this problem for creators, I guess Convoy, I mentioned they had a product where, hey, let's just say you get screwed, right? Let's just say that they write you at a rent of $2,000, but you can get $2,200, or you have a lease at $2,200, and that hits your debt service coverage ratio. But they have a product saying if you have enough liquidity, so like for me, I have a lot of stocks, I have a lot of cash, I have a lot of things that are more liquid. They could say, hey, this guy can float the difference, he's lower risk, so instead of increasing your interest rate from, let's say if you hit the debt service coverage ratio 1.2, you're at 6.25, and because they underwrote your rent at $2,000 at a much lower rate, your debt service coverage ratio is now 1, so now your interest rate's going to be 7.25. So, with having more assets and more liquidity, maybe they can get you at a 6.5. So it's not as bad. So you're not at the mercy of the appraiser. So, it can hit you two ways. They can hit me on the rents, and they can hit me on the actual ARV based on sales comps for that area, right? So, so for me, I'm not worried if I have to leave money in the deal. Like if I have to leave 20, 30,000 bucks in the deal, whatever. That just means I can't buy as many. That means I don't have as much velocity of money. But still, if I can get an asset for $30,000 down, that's still pretty good, right? Versus doing a traditional 25% down, which is going to be about $60,000, $70,000 or $80,000. I'm putting like half that. So the point of doing this lazy burr is to leverage more. And obviously, if I can pull all my money out, then great, I can buy even more, right? Versus if I have to leave $30,000 in the deal, I have to save up another $30,000, which may take me a few more months to get there. So for me, that's how I play the game. Like I'm not like, obviously, like my worst case scenario is I leave money in the deal, and it just takes me like I buy a deal every 6 months because I need to take another 6 months to save up another $30,000. Or if I put all my money, I can buy a deal every like 3 months, right, in half the time, without having to save up more money, right? So like that's my worst case scenario, my best case scenario, and I'm okay with the worst case scenario. It's not even that bad in my opinion. So that's how I think as an investor. That's how I think I've been successful long term. Is like either outcome, even the worst case outcome, I'm okay with, right? Like if they underwrite my rents lower, if they give me a lower ARV, and my trade becomes higher, and my amount of money I can pull out is less, that's fine. I can just leave it in there, and maybe in like 5 years, if I lock in a 6.75% interest rate, maybe in 5 years it'll drop down to 5.25, and I'll do a refinance again and pull out more money at that point, right? So you have to have that long-term view in terms of buying real estate. But it's nice that Convoy offers that product for the debt service coverage ratio loans to kind of help you as an investor out, because these are the problems that we're having, and it's holding back from scaling. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, right now, waiting to get my property rented out. It's funny, my property manager is actually engaging somebody who's moving from Kentucky to Alabama, and ironically, she works for Lennar, and I own a Lennar home, so maybe she wants to rent out my property. And the moment I get a lease on that property, a signed contract, a signed lease, I'm basically going to engage either Convoy or Kiavi and see what happens, right? And another thing I learned from investors is for the appraisal, is contesting the appraisal. So it's kind of funny. So with appraisals, I feel like AI is going to take over this job eventually, but you're at the mercy of a human, and the humans can make mistakes too, and the humans have interpretations. And if I'm being honest, most appraisers probably do not own rental real estate themselves, and they probably don't know how to do rent comps themselves as good, right? Like for me, you can look on Zillow, you can look on Rent Cafe, you can look at Section 8, but my source of truth is my property manager. Because like she manages like 20, 30 rentals in that area, so she knows what the rents can be. So that's why I know the rents for my 53rd unit in Huntsville, Alabama. It's about $2,150, give or take. Maybe they negotiate me down. Maybe I'm at like, $2,050, or maybe I get a little higher. I'm at $2,200, right? But in any case, I really trust them with that. So that's why I'm saying it'd be stronger if I could like show, hey, I have a current lease right now, and my property manager can give me, hey, show me other properties exactly like this one that you rented out and what the rents are, and I can give them sales comps. So for me, I'm so proactive that I want to give this appraiser 3 to 4 rental comps up front that I will get from my property manager, and I'll give them 3 or 4 ARVs or sales comps in the past like 3 to 6 months in the same neighborhood to be proactive. Like I said, like I know I can get 320 or 315, but I'm going to aim for 340 because I want to do a perfect burr on this deal. So whatever, if it ends up being lower, I leave more money in the deal, not the end of the world, right? So I plan on playing real estate long term, so I don't mind leaving $30,000. In fast forward 5 years, I'll probably be able to pull out that $30,000 that I originally had in the deal, right? If my interest rate lowers, so no big deal in my opinion. So basically that's kind of what I want to do proactively. Is like I want to already give the appraiser, hey, these are my sales comps, and challenge it. And a lot of times it's hard for the appraiser to admit that they made a mistake because they have a boss too, and it's just like telling your boss that you made a mistake. So, it's really okay to do that and to make that mistake. So that's what I really plan on doing, and hopefully it's successful with that. It is being proactive with that. So like for me, I like to take hands in my own hands, and I'm hoping that, well, Convoy worked with appraisers, but I get it. When you're in 50 different markets, you have 50 different appraisers you work with, you try to get what you can as fast as you can. So hopefully they're good, and I can give them some sales comps. And like I said, they said that a lot of times when we can test it, it's very rare for them to change their mind. And oftentimes you get a second appraiser and they're stuck with the same situation. So, you might be stuck in the same boat. And, appraisals are expensive, right? They cost $500. But if my appraiser costs me $100 a month, then maybe it's worth it to take that second appraisal and take that second shot, right? So that's kind of like the mindset that I have. So, that's kind of what I've been thinking of. But back to my original point of why it's good to have different opinions and to always keep an open mind, right? Like, for me, I'm very cognizant of who I listen to, because I only want to listen to people who either have more real estate than me, have a higher net worth than me, or have a life that I want. But on the flip side, I still keep an open mind to people who maybe they don't own as much real estate as me, don't have as large a net worth for me, because you can always learn something from somebody, right? But just take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to take it through your own lens. And that's where critical thinking is very important, right? Is that you have to think of who you listen to, because if I were to listen to my parents' advice, I would own no real estate, and where would that get me today, right? So you always want to keep an open mind and just hear that different perspective. So it's really nice being around people who are action oriented, who are buying real estate, and just get their opinion, right? Like I said, I'm around different types of investors. Some own 5 units, some manage it themselves, renovate themselves. I have no interest in renovating myself. I have no interest in managing myself if I had a choice. So I prefer to systematize things. And then, I'm just getting into the debt service coverage ratio loans for single family. Historically for single family, I just bought it primary conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and I bought my commercial real estate with debt service coverage ratio loans. So this is the first time I'm buying single families and doing such a fast BRRRR method. So I'm at the mercy of the appraiser. So we'll see where it goes. Usually I'm not at the mercy of the appraiser because I just buy and hold. And my 26 unit, I haven't cashed out, refinanced it. I got some quotes on it, but I haven't been at the mercy of the appraiser yet. But I know for multifamily ARV and appraisals, you have to tease out the income. What's a one-time expense? What's your actual NOI, right? After getting rid of big one-time expenses with that. So, that's something that I've been really thinking about and really honing in on. So I'll keep you guys posted on how the appraisal does. And that's my biggest nervous point. But like I said, I'm looking between Convoy and Kiavi are my top two right now. So I'll see how it goes. So why I'm hesitant with Kiavi, why I'm leaning towards Convoy is number one, Kiavi number two, is because with Kiavi, basically you cannot contest the appraisal at all. But at least with Convoy, you have the opportunity to contest with that. So we'll see if Kiavi ends up giving me better appraisals. And they claim that they have an automated appraisal process that's in-house. So maybe they're more lenient, or maybe they're harder, right? So if it's in-house, it's one or two ways. It's either harder or it's more difficult, right? So if it's easier, then great. I'll use them because it's automated. So anyways, just kind of Figure, they give you HELOCs automated, but I think they look at the appraised value of the property. It's all computer electronic. I got appraised, I got approved for a HELOC of about $270K, but I have to pay 1.5% origination fee. My interest rate's 10%, so that's pretty high, but that's better than a hard money loan. So if I want to go in and buy real estate with this and then pay it off, it's not a bad option to leverage. But I have a pledge as line of credit against my stock portfolio, which gives me better rates than that, right? So something that I've been really kind of looking at is getting more lines of credits to give me more liquidity, so I can just buy these deals fast and then basically cash out refinance to pay it off fast. right? So basically doing like a fast hard money loan, but I want to try it one time because I want to buy the same exact property and set the precedence for sales comps in that neighborhood, right? And then send those sales comps over already. So anyways, if you want to join my school community and get different perspectives and network, or you want one-on-one coaching, you want mentorship, you want a newsletter, you want a steadily landlord insurance quote, click on my link tree down below. It has all my links. Otherwise, let me know what questions you have. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.